General Hospital's Drew has been completely unrecognizable since last year, but he might have just pulled his dirtiest trick yet. Willow Tate Corinthos, Caitlin McMullen, will be anything Drew Cain, Cameron Matheson, tells her to do, like the obedient little cult member she is. It doesn't matter what her eyes, ears, and the people around her say. She has done nothing wrong, and Drew is her forever hero and prince who walks on water. If Drew hands Willow papers to sign, then Willow will sign them, exactly as she did on the April 14th episode. Did she read those papers? Nope. Did it occur to her that what Drew claimed the papers were for was illegal? Nope. So what the heck did Willow really sign? Maybe she needs to have a lawyer take a good look. Drew claimed that he had papers drawn up that would give him guardianship of Willow's kids if anything were to happen to her. Considering that Willow is married to Michael and Michael is alive, how is this even going to work? And if something happened to her, why wouldn't her kids go to their grandparents? We're sure Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros, and Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, would love to have them. Did any of this make sense to Willow? Can anything make sense to such a vapid character who has zero ability to think for herself? Did Willow just sign away her children's ELQ shares to Drew? He is determined to get his hands on anything that belongs to the Quartermains, so why not go for ELQ shares that currently belong to minor children? Or did Willow sign something much more insidious? Sometimes seems that Drew is not Drew at all, and his obsession with Willow is more than just a game. It seems like a sickness, and Willow has also been infected with it, just like she was when she fell under Shiloh's, Kobe Ryan McLaughlin, influence. Since Shiloh and Drew were once buddies in Afghanistan, it is looking more and more like Shiloh is part of this story in some way. Tune in to new episodes of General Hospital on ABC to see how these stories play out. Port Charles has seen its fair share of betrayals, backstabbings, and jaw-dropping twists, but no one saw this one coming. Drew Cain, once considered the moral compass in a town full of schemers, has just pulled off what might be his most low-down, dirty move yet, and it's about to change everything. For months, Drew has struggled to reclaim his place in the chaotic world of Port Charles. After his prison stint and rocky re-entry into society, many believed he'd take the high road, focusing on family, healing, and rebuilding. But it turns out Drew may have learned more than how to survive behind bars. He's learned how to play the game just as dirty as the rest of them. It all began with Ned Quartermain's fateful tumble and his split personality as Eddie Main. While the Quartermain family was consumed with chaos, ELQ's power dynamics shifted, and Drew seized his opportunity. He told family and friends it was about protecting legacy, but those closest to him are beginning to suspect otherwise. Under the pretense of keeping the company in safe hands, Drew secretly negotiated with under-the-radar investors, essentially selling off chunks of ELQ to outside parties. And who was left in the dark? Michael, Ned, and even his supposed love interest Carly. Worse yet, Drew didn't just sell shares, he leveraged them. He risked the family empire in a dangerous financial gamble tied to his own private ventures. What does that mean? It means Drew might have knowingly endangered the Quartermain legacy for his own benefit. While Carly stood by Drew during his prison stint and helped him reacclimate to civilian life, her loyalty may have been severely misplaced. Carly, who's endured plenty of betrayal in her life, is now being whispered about as the latest casualty in Drew's power-hungry spiral. Sources close to Carly, namely Sam and even Jason, have started to see the red flags. Drew's absences, his shady phone calls, and his recent defensiveness about money all point to something much bigger than simple business moves. And then, the truth came out. Carly discovered a paper trail Drew never meant for anyone to find. Shell corporations tied back to a foreign conglomerate notorious for hostile takeovers. The documents included Drew's signature, approval dates, and worst of all, a clause that would leave Carly financially exposed if things went south. When Carly confronted him, Drew didn't deny it. Instead, he tried to justify it, saying he was doing this for both of them. A line Carly didn't buy for a second. Jason Morgan's return to Port Charles has already sent shockwaves through the town. But now, it's clear that one of the most intense rivalries may be reigniting. Not over a woman, Jason, ever the protector, warned Drew to come clean before things got worse. But Drew, emboldened by his new power, and perhaps clouded by desperation, stood his ground. The once brothers, who shared memories and DNA thanks to years of experimentation and manipulation, are now poised to become enemies. Their confrontation in the Quartermain den was explosive. Jason calmly laid out everything he knew, piecing together Drew's deception with the precision of someone who's been watching quietly for weeks. Drew, cornered, lashed out, accusing Jason of never seeing him as an equal. "You were always the golden boy," Drew spat, his voice trembling. "I was the replacement. I had to fight for every ounce of respect in this family, in this town." Jason didn't flinch. "And now you're throwing it all away. For what? Money? Power? That's not the Drew I used to know." Perhaps the most heart-wrenching angle in all this is Sam McCall. Once deeply in love with Jason, and later involved with Drew, she finds herself squarely in the middle of a war between the two men who changed her life. Sam, who has been focusing on co-parenting and personal growth, never expected to be dragged back into the drama. But when Scout's future was suddenly tied up in Drew's dangerous decisions, she couldn't stay silent. Sam demanded answers, and what she heard left her reeling. "I can't believe you'd risk our daughter's inheritance for this," she said through tears during a heated confrontation. "You were supposed to be the stable one. You were supposed to be better." Drew, visibly shaken, tried to convince her that everything would work out. But Sam wasn't buying it. "If you think I'll let you drag Scout down with you, you're more lost than I thought." Dr. Monica Quartermain has seen many disappointments in her life, but this one cut deep. Drew had been a bright light in her later years, a second chance at a son she thought she'd lost. When word of Drew's scheming reached her ears, Monica didn't want to believe it. But the evidence was damning. In a quiet but emotional scene, Monica confronted Drew with tears in her eyes. "You came back to us, and I thought we had a future. I thought you had integrity," she said, "but you're behaving like every other Quartermain who lost their way." Drew's silence said everything. He knew he'd gone too far, but the damage was already done. As Port Charles reels from the shock, the question on everyone's lips is what now? Drew has made powerful enemies. The Quartermains are furious, Carly is heartbroken, and Jason is ready to make a move to protect what's left of the family legacy. There's talk of E.L. Key's board calling for Drew's removal. Even Michael, who has always had a complicated relationship with Drew, may vote against him. And then there's the legal angle: insider trading, fraud, breach of fiduciary duty. If the authorities get involved, Drew could be looking at another stint behind bars. Meanwhile, Carly is re-evaluating everything: her trust, her choices, and even her future with Drew. Some say she's already reached out to Diane to protect her assets. Others whisper that she might go back to Sonny, or worse, Jason, if only to escape the betrayal that Drew delivered. As the dust settles, one thing is clear: this isn't just another Port Charles scandal. This is a shift in the town's power structure. Drew Cain, once the underdog hero, has become a cautionary tale of ambition gone too far. Is there redemption in his future? Possibly. But it will take more than apologies and promises to undo the hurt he's caused. In a city where trust is a rare commodity and betrayal is always lurking around the corner, Drew just proved he's not above playing dirty. And Port Charles will never see him the same way again.